So there are 9 bell bearings in total, and I'm going to show you how to get every single one except the last 2. The reason being is the last 2 are tied to quest lines. I will discuss where to get them, but I will not be showing the quest lines in this video. I'm going to show you efficient routes on how to get there, map locations so you know where you are. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So for our first bell bearing, you're going to start at the castle front site of Grace and follow the route that I'm going to show you. I am going to take you to the first Grace site we need to get to in order to get to our second Grace site, but follow along the route and I'll go ahead and tell you exactly what this bell bearing is going to get you and what it is. This is going to be the Mushroom Seller's Bell Bearing 1, and it's going to provide you with 2 types of mushrooms. The first is the regular mushroom, and the second is red flesh mushrooms. Both of these are used in different pot recipes, but the most reputable one is the Hefty Furnace Pot, which you need in order to take out certain furnace golems to get your cracked tears and Shadow of the Erdtree. Now, as we make our way through this cave, we're going to locate the Elec River Cave site of Grace. If you already have this one, this is where you want to start the route, but I wanted to show how to get here just in case people were confused or didn't know. At this point, you're going to leave the site of Grace and hang a right and follow the route that I'm showing you. Don't get knocked off of Torrent like I did when the Putrid Tree Spirit spawns. Make sure you run directly past him because he can be a problem if you wait there too long. Now coming up here, there's going to be a bunch of those fly enemies. Just go directly past them, and this pot is going to be hanging on a cliffside on your right as soon as you get to the end of this clearing. All you need to do is grab a bow and arrow or a throwable item and throw it at the pot, and the bell bearing will fall right on the ground so you can pick it up. You're then going to go back to the Elec River Cave site of Grace, and we're going to pick up our next bell bearing. The Mushroom Seller's Bell Bearing 2 is going to be located in the opposite direction, and you're going to have to parkour over some rocks in order to get there. However, once you parkour over these rocks, it will be hanging from a rock face jutting over a waterfall. But before we get there, we are going to make a quick stop at the Elec River downstream site of Grace, and if you do have this site of Grace, you can start right here. From this site of Grace, it's only a short hop, skip, and a jump down the waterfall until you get to the rock face where the pot is hanging from. You'll just need to shoot the pot down, and then you can run down onto the ground and run up to the waterfall and grab this bell bearing. This bell bearing is going to provide you toxic mushrooms and white flesh mushrooms. Next up, we're going to go to the Pillar Path Waypoint site of Grace because we're going to track down the Herbalist Bell Bearing. This is going to provide you with Rata fruit that can be used in a variety of different craftable items. You won't need to go far from the site of Grace, but you're going to hang a left and keep very close to the cliffside as you run up and are able to see the pot hanging over the path on the other side of the cliffs. Per usual, you know the drill. Take out your bow and arrow, shoot the pot down, and then run over and snag this bell bearing. Next, you're going to head to the 3-path cross site of Grace because we're going after the String Seller's Bell Bearing. And you guessed it, this bell bearing is going to allow you to buy string infinitely from the Twin Maiden husks. String is a very essential crafting item, and you're going to use it pretty much for every single regular pot. But you're going to run along the cliffside, and then as you approach the site of Grace, you're going to hang a minor right up onto a small hill, and on the left side as you look over on the cliffside there is going to be a pot hanging from a string. Once again, shoot that pot down, grab the bell bearing for yourself. And once again, just in case you're curious, this is exactly on the map where it's supposed to be. And next up, you're going to head to the Reclusus River downstream site of Grace, and it's literally sitting right next to the Grace hanging from a wall. The hardest part about this one is shooting it down and then running down into the chasm, which I'll show you, in order to get the bell bearing out of the water. So you're going to run backwards from the site of Grace and hang a right, and then you need to jump over onto the other ledge and make your way down into the riverbed. Once at the riverbed, you want to stay to the left side of the cliff, and there's going to be the bell bearing sitting in the water. Next up, we're going to grab the Greasemonger's bell bearing, which is going to allow you to get both knot resin and root resin indefinitely from the Twin Maiden husks. However, you're going to need to get to Bonnie Village, so before I show you Bonnie Village, I'm going to show you the route how to get there because a lot of people get really confused on how to do this. So you're going to start from the Morth Ruin site of Grace, and you're going to make your way very, very carefully down the hole in the ground until you can follow the route that I'm showing you here. The jump here can be incredibly infuriating, and I died about 5 or 6 times before I got it for this recording, but as you get to the very bottom, there's going to be some enemies that you can either run past or kill real quick, and then you will be presented with a very long ladder. Go up the ladder, and after you reach the top of the ladder, you will have entered Bonnie Village. Now from Bonnie Village, you're going to follow the road around the map, naturally grabbing the sights of grace as you go. We are going to be running into a furnace golem up here, so he could be a potential problem, but you do have the ability to run directly past him. You'll just have to dodge his fire attacks, which as you're going to see in this video, I definitely didn't. Now, if you're wondering why you would even want to get this particular bell bearing, it's because it's in a good majority of the brand new greases that have come to us for Shadow of the Erdtree. These are excellent items in order for you to buff your weapon, so it's definitely worth it. But run past the furnace golem and then you're going to get to the top of the hill and make a U-turn onto the cliffside. In front of you next to the wolves, you're going to see a jar hanging from a string. You know the deal, go ahead and shoot it down and then grab this for yourself. Now for our last bell bearing, we're going to be heading to the Shadowkeep back gate. You're going to run over to the statue and use the Oh Mother gesture, which should open up the secret door. As you make your way through the door, you're going to want to grab the Shadow View Site of Grace, and then make your way slowly up to the Shaman Village. There's going to be some bosses in this area, so you definitely want to be careful, but after you get to the Shaman Village, run up and around the village until you can find a little path of rock that goes down a cliffside. This small cliffside path is going to lead you down until you can jump onto the balcony of a very tall tower. Within this tower is going to be the next bell bearing you're looking for, the Spellmachinist bell bearing. This bell bearing is going to allow you to buy Rabbath's Great Bolts from the Twin Maiden husks indefinitely. Now for these last two bell bearings, as I said in the beginning of the video, they are directly tied to quest lines, so I'm not going to cover them. However, I will tell you where the quest line starts and show you how to get there on the map. So first and foremost, we have Ymir's bell bearing. You're going to need to make your way to the Cathedral of Manus Mater, and you are going to need to go through that entire quest line. Make sure to exhaust everybody's dialogue, and by the end of that quest line, you should have Ymir's bell bearing. For the last bell bearing, you're going to want to head to the Pillar Path Waypoint Site of Grace, and right next to the Grace, you're going to find an NPC named Egon. You're going to start his quest line here, and eventually at the end of his quest line, after you traverse into the Jagged Peaks, you should receive his bell bearing. And guys, that is going to be it for all 9 bell bearing locations. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope I was able to make the guide quick and easy just so you guys wouldn't waste any time. So, with that being said, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification on your way out. And until next time, stay safe, enjoy the game, and I'll see you in the next one.